Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. Means it's time for another live stream. And today is Friday, November 6th, 2020. Ooh, we made it to the end of the week. And what a week it has been. I'm sure for a lot of you guys, even if you aren't in the U.S., not to say that like the U.S. is so important, everyone should be kind of captivated by what's going on here, but I do think it affects a lot of people, even outside the U.S. And so a lot of people have been watching a lot of news lately. I've been watching a lot of news, although I would say more than usual, but I normally just kind of leave the news on. It's comforting. Comforting? Is that the right word? It's convenient, like background noise that I usually just like to have on in the background, but it's definitely been on a little extra, but I'm kind of getting tired of it. I mean, is that a bad thing to admit? Like, I've seen enough of John King. I normally like John King. I like that he uses the graphics. I like that he uses the board, but like I don't think John King has slept in like 72 hours, and I think he's getting a little bit grumpy. And it seems like more and more you can tell whenever he's like on with someone else, like with Wolf Blitzer, like Wolf Blitzer is getting like yelled at in his ear by the producer. Have him talk about Pennsylvania or something, and John King will say like, I'll get to your question, but here's some other stuff that I'm going to talk about first for 5 minutes, and he's just start going off. And he's not the only one. Everyone's kind of doing that. So I think we're all getting a little bit slap happy. And I kind of miss the regular news. I want to hear about the other stuff that's going on as well, because that's not the only thing going on in the world. So anyway, that's kind of what I've been doing. Christian Schobinger says he's been watching the actual election. It's very extra. Yeah, for sure. For sure. PG's 1980 says, hi, Kofuzi, how it's going. I think other than that, today was actually a pretty fantastic day. It's the end of the quarter for CPS, Chicago Public Schools, and so it was just beautiful. So we went down by the Mississippi River. We drove down to Dubuque. We went to the Mississippi River and just kind of hung out there. It was just really relaxing, hearing the waves from the river lapping up against the riverbanks, and the kids played in some of the sand kind of on the banks too, and it was good. It was really good. And then we went over, and I'd never done this before. We went over on the other side of the river to East Dubuque, which kind of has a reputation of being like, if there's a river city, there's the one side that's the main side, and then there's the other side that's the not so nice side. That's usually the side where the bars are open a couple hours later, and if there's strip clubs in the area, that's where they are. Or if there's like gambling, that's usually where it is. Like that's East Dubuque here. And for example, right across the river, there's a gun museum, and every restaurant on the main strip in town, on that part of town, has slot machines because they have gambling there. So like that's what it is. But I never spent much time in there on purpose. And we went down through there today and then hung out on the east side of the Mississippi River, which we had never done before. And it was just absolutely beautiful. It was really nice. So we had a really great day today. Although I'm not sure if I get good points or bad points for being the dad that lets the kids play on like the Mississippi River banks, like by a city. I don't know if that's good or not, but I'm going to take it as good. Philip Bourne says, hello everyone, reporting in with only a rest day 5K, quote unquote, this evening. In the afternoon, already went for a short run walk with the dog from a shelter. Oh, that's cool. Might end up adopting her by the end of the month. Oh, that's awesome. I've always thought that, and I think that there are charities kind of like this, or groups, like run groups that will go and just run the dogs. I think that's kind of fun. I like that idea. Ines, who still has that wonderful profile pic up here of his dog, or one of his dogs, says, hi, Kofuzi and everybody, 5 miles on the trails with Pip after work today. Nice clear sky and no rain. Awesome. What a great way to end the week or start the weekend. Frank LaHoolier says, got a 5-mile progression this afternoon. Does anyone else get nervous before a hard workout? Oh, yeah, I do, for sure. Every time there's a hard workout, I get nervous. You kind of get that, like, this one's going to hurt. The rests are going to be too short. You always get that feeling. Let's see. Chris Yowell's here. Good to see you. Luis Becerra says, what's going on, everybody? Cool. Martha. Oh, let's see. World Runner Reviews is here. Says, hi, all. I think Martha said something about picking up a new pair. Where'd it go? To pick up a second pair of Boston 9s from Jack Rabbit for $55. Wow. in a color she couldn't find anywhere else. Awesome. Gray, taupe, pale orange. Nice. That's awesome. I've been getting a lot of ads from Jackrabbit. I don't know if I signed up for something from them or what, but I'm getting so many Jackrabbit ads. And some of the deals are pretty amazing. And I think this is usually a good time of year to start stocking up on some of the stuff that like people are trying to clear out. So that's awesome. Very cool. Tony Macias is here. Nibsy is watching from the Netherlands. Awesome. Welcome. Delaney Ball is glued to Twitter more than usual this week. Yeah, here's my thing about that. I've been doing a lot of Twitter too, because it seems like on Twitter I have more of a balance in terms of like the kind of people that I'm following, or the distributions is a little bit more random, I think. And so I don't know what that is. I wonder if there must be more of a skew. Not that Twitter is a Republican place, but I feel like of Republicans, I think that a lot of Republicans who are on social media prefer like Twitter. I would say maybe even more than they like Instagram. Or maybe it's just not as apparent because you can't retweet. But here's what I've been thinking, because I've been looking at a lot of Twitter too. And I'm I deleted Facebook a long time ago. And it was awesome. It was really great. I thought it was a great idea. I think I did it maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And I haven't looked back. I've logged in like a couple of times here and there, and I tried to like maintain like a Kofuzi like Facebook page, but I just felt like I was like regurgitating stuff from other places and putting it there. And then I didn't really like all the other stuff that comes with Facebook. And so I think I'm going to start suggesting to a lot of people to just delete Facebook. I think that people should start doing it. I'm not saying that Facebook is evil, but I'm just thinking that people will be happier if they get rid of it. I'm happier since I got rid of it. So I'm going to start recommending that to people. But I'm also and the main reason for that, while I still like YouTube and Instagram, is there isn't like sharing, right? So like on Facebook, you can share stuff. So if someone else says something like crazy, intended to get you riled up, and so you share it to rile up other people, and it just becomes this like wave of grumpiness. So I'm thinking like anything that has a share function or a retweet function, I think I'm going to get rid of. But I still do like Twitter. So I'm a little bit on the fence. And I've been doing a lot of Twitter lately. So I'm just not sure. I'm not sure what to do about it. Because I haven't seen that. What is it? What was it? That documentary that everyone's talking about like social media. I haven't seen that, but I have a feeling if I watch that, I would like feel stronger about it. But I'm thinking about, but the thing is, a lot of the people that I'm interacting with on Twitter, it's just none of it is political at all. I just really like replying in GIFs. I think that if Instagram, and I think it would ruin Instagram if they allowed it, but if I could reply or post in GIF in Instagram, I would have no problem just dropping Twitter. I'm glad that Instagram doesn't have that, because I think it would make it very cluttered, but I really enjoy communicating almost completely in GIF form, and Twitter allows me to do that. So that's what I kind of like about it. But the retweets are what get people into trouble, I think. I don't know. But like you, Delaney, I've been glued to it. So I don't know how to I don't know how to reconcile that. I still got to think about it and figure it out. Gulshan Paul said, just before you said Facebook is evil, I thought Facebook is hell. Well, I know a lot of people have strong opinions. I'm not the first one to say something along those lines. So, but yeah, a lot of people have. Yeah, Social Dilemma. That's the name of it, Leona. Thank you. Jordan also coming in with Social Dilemma. That's it. Should I watch that? Do I need to watch that? I think maybe. Delaney says Twitter is less. Where'd it go? Twitter is less personal for me, and that helps, I think. Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe. Let's see, for me, I use Twitter as a place where I kind of generally try to be funny. And so, stuff that makes people pissed off doesn't really lend itself well to being funny. And so that's kind of why I like it. I don't know. Frank says, I'm on Strava and LinkedIn, and that's it. Yeah. I'm pretty much abandoning my LinkedIn profile now. and I'm getting more like invitations and messages than ever, it seems. But I think there's reasons for that. But yeah, I definitely over the past couple of weeks have been like, you know what? I should just focus all my efforts on Strava. As like a running YouTuber, like Instagram is more flexible and gives me more functionality. But like my efforts should be on cultivating like a Strava account than it should be on a Twitter account. So I've definitely been thinking about that too. I need to focus more on it. Now, if Strava could let me reply in GIF, which I don't think it ever will, but if that could happen, then I think you'd have a killer app. I mean, not that it's not a super addictive app already. Martha says, I have heard Twitter can be the fastest and sometimes a very accurate news source. Yes, it can. It certainly can. You know, and I even find myself kind of like right now, like the last couple of days, I've been avoiding Twitter, but I go to like the AP. I usually go to the AP News website first, just to make sure if there weren't any like landmark things that I need to know about, because I don't want to learn about stuff that's going on this week on Twitter. I want to learn about it from like AP News. That's kind of my source of choice. But yeah, news spreads extremely quickly on Twitter, which is good and bad, you know. Yeah, Tony Yu says, the only reason I still use Facebook is because some people only use Facebook Messenger. Yeah, I've trained everyone in my life that I'm just not going to be there. Although I think a lot fewer people are communicating with me. So maybe they're the ones that have trained me. I guess, I don't know. I'm okay with not using Facebook Messenger. Frank's never been on Facebook, he says. I don't believe that. But maybe you've never had an account. I don't know. Martha said, no FB, no Facebook, no Twitter, no IG, and proud. That's probably why you're so balanced, Martha. That's funny. Delaney says, it's easier to curate what I like / trust on Twitter versus watching cable news. Twitter is much more newsy than Instagram. Yeah. And I think, again, it's because of the share, the retweet function, so you can do that. But I also think that it's that retweet thing that I think gets a lot of people into trouble. You know, Scott Stroh says, I've been on Spotify more this week. That's, I mean, I'm assuming you mean music, and that's a very good thing. Oh, check this out. GJ says, hey everyone, new running gloves delivered today, and unexpectedly, they have a hand warmer pocket on the palm. Oh, I like that. I mean, on the one hand, I don't know that it's completely necessary, because for me, they stay in there anyway. Or actually, do they? No, mine always fall down. My mittens, they fall down toward my fingertips, but that's kind of where I want them. And then sometimes if I'm really cold, I'll even tuck my hands inside the mittens. And then, so that like the finger part is floppy, and then I'll just like hold it in a fist. So maybe, so I don't know. I like the thoughtfulness of it though. All right, let's scroll down a little bit more. Tony said, my strategy to stay off Facebook is to delete the app, and if I use it, to force myself to load it in via Safari, so I have to enter a username and password each time, which is a pain. I did that for a little while, and then after a while, I was just like, this is so annoying. I don't want to use it anymore. Plus, I never really liked like the desk or the web version of it. It always seemed a lot clunkier to use. June Wan says, Kofuzi, how do apparel, t-shirt, shorts, etc. from Saucony fit compared to Nike? You know, I don't think I have any Saucony apparel at all. I'm trying to think. No, I don't have any. You know which one I do want, though? They make like a sweatshirt, and it's super old school. It says Saucony around it, and there's like a track foot with wings on it. I really want that one. I saw Molly Huddle wearing it she did a interview at the expo with Alexi Pappas and Matt Chittum, and it's super dope. I really like that one. But in terms of like their running stuff, I don't think I have any Saucony gear. I've been trying to stay away from some of the running brands, like the running shoe brands apparel, because I don't if I have it, like I have some like Hoka stuff, I have some Nike stuff, I have some like very few Adidas pieces, and I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any New Balance clothes. But like when I do have them, I try to like wear them when I'm wearing those shoes. So I try to be matchy. But it's easier for me to have running apparel from just an apparel company. So I kind of avoid it. Tubinbo says, new sub here. Welcome. You might have already answered this 100 times, but what Hoka do you like the most and why? I think my favorite is the Rincon. And this year, the Rincon 2 is probably my favorite. With the caveat that I've not tried the Rocket X yet. It should be arriving like Monday, which is soon, but a couple days, just in time for it to be cold again, unfortunately, because we're going to hit a cold spell next week. But the Rincon 2 is probably my favorite because it is very light. It's got a bunch of cushion in it, but it's still super fast. And this year with the Rincon 2, I feel like they just widened it up a little bit. They made it a little bit more roomier in the toe box, just in the forefoot, and it's just really nice. So that's my favorite. It's not a daily trainer, but you can use it as one. But it really likes to go fast, and it's just super fun to run in. My second favorite is probably the Torrent 2. It's the beginner trail shoe or the commuter or hybrid trail shoe. I really like that one as well. Inna says, I try to use social media to be social. Photos of running with your dog. Don't wind people up and keeps you away from politics. That's why I do really like Instagram. Now, granted, there are very political accounts on Instagram, and those do get me wound up pretty easily. And so I do follow a couple that are like that. I've been really rethinking the use of my Instagram stories. I've been using it to highlight stories about broadly inequality and the perpetuation or the infliction of inequality on others, mainly focusing on racism, but occasionally hitting other kinds of inequality related stories. And thinking of it from the perspective of like, I don't want to be perpetuating you're never going to believe this kind of content. I don't know. I've mentioned it to you guys before that some people have commented like, how come your Instagram stories are never happy? And I was like, how do you make happy stories about racism? Like, I don't understand that. But I think that I need to, and I haven't been posting much on stories lately, mainly because I feel like there's enough out there right now. I don't need to be highlighting anything. Everyone's got it covered for now. But I'd like to figure out a way to, maybe I need to promote other people's good works. I need to find a better way to do that. And maybe I can do that with like Instagram lives or just something else. But I'd like to put something else in the story that still, puts a spotlight on the fact that, inequality still exists and we need to do something about it. It's not just like, it's too bad. There's something that needs to be done, but I could do it in a way that's not about getting people angry. And so far I've been doing it a very lazy way, which is like, you're never going to believe this story about the fact that, there's a flag of a town where there's like a police logo someplace in North Dakota that looks exactly like a KKK logo. Those are stories that are easy to rile people up. But I don't think they're that productive. But it is a good reminder that this stuff still exists out there, which a lot of people have been thinking that it doesn't. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about, how to approach social media myself. So I'll figure, it'll be a process. I don't know that I'll figure it out, but I'll constantly be thinking about it. All right. Robert Morano says, my favorite cold running gloves have towel-like material on the top of the thumb. So you can wipe your snot on it as you go along. Really? That's not where I thought that where it was going. So like this, like right here. Oh, I'm trying to think. What do I do with like if I've got snot? I mean, like normally I just I do the snot rockets. But I'm trying to think of like if it's really nasty. Yeah, I'm probably if I'm blowing hard and it's just nasty and stringy, I'm probably wiping it like this too, and then just like wiping it on like my hip, like in that area. So maybe that would be useful. I don't know. I don't know. My running buddy wears like an old school like tennis like wristband like down here, and he just like dabs his face when he runs in the summertime. I don't know if he does the same thing like for boogers in the winter. Yeah, I don't know. Jeff Elliott says, I've cultivated my Facebook really well and have a few positive groups that I really love. It doesn't have to be awful because you can just remove the awful people from your feed. Yeah, Jeff, but what if the awful people are family members and stuff? That's why I feel like it's difficult because, everyone's got the crazy uncle, right? I mean, I guess in America, we've been living with the crazy uncle. Everyone has like the collective crazy uncle kind of guy. But that's what makes it hard, And I've been listening to, the one of the main reasons I left it is the crazy uncle, and I've mentioned him before. Like I mentioned him before when we were talking about masks and how some people are making fun of other people for wearing masks, and this was back in like March. Same guy, but I feel like that crazy uncle has been giving my mother-in-law some grief too. And so, I see it and I'm just like, you should just mute him for a month, 30 days, just 30 days. So I'm trying to like encourage her to do that, but I know she never will because she's too nice. D Riv says, Kofuzi keeping it 100. That's why I'm here. Well, thank you. Ines says, mountain bike gloves used to always have toweling thumbs. Snot rockets in a cycling group don't go down well. Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I am finding that I am borrowing more and more from cycling for my winter gear because when you think about it on a bike, you're moving faster because you're on the wheels. And so like wind and like wind chill become bigger issues. So like if it's good enough for on a bike in the winter, then I feel like it'll be good enough for running in the winter. So that's kind of where I've been looking. But toweling thumbs, I'm gonna have to look into that now. How do I test that? I guess I'll have to test it. Like I have to like make a video of myself blowing a snot rocket or not blowing a snot rocket. I don't know. Oh, Danny J wraps a buff around the wrist for snot control. There you go. That makes sense. Jeff Elliott says, posting about racism and inequality will piss people off, and it's okay to piss those people off. I agree with the premise, but I also feel like there are ways, here's my concern with that is I also don't want to shut that person off for the same reason that I have deleted Facebook. I'm sure, well, except for the fact that crazy uncle loves to pick fights and he loves to like goad you into making the first aggressive move. It's like a Nixonian basically. But or orthogonian, if you want to call it that too. But the one thing that I don't want to do is I don't want to like to be so aggressive and overt on it, or like overwhelming on it that it causes someone else to shut down or not listen. And so I want to make sure I can keep the lines of communication open, and I don't think I've been doing that very well. So that's one of the things that I want to do. The problem I see with like keeping it positive is like, oh, look at all this great work going on, is I don't want to lull people into thinking like, oh, look, people got it covered. We're good now, right? So that's the other concern. But what I would love for it to be is a way to help establish norms. Like, I don't know if you guys listen to Seth Godin. He is a marketing guy, but basically just an amazing, he understands human behavior really well. And I listen to his podcast in spurts. They're nice because they're very short. But, he has this phrase that like, people like us do things like this. I mean, talking about like building community and like, what is your tribe and what is your brand, or like, what is a culture? And what I would love to be able to figure out a way to do is to make it that, a lot of runners, not that you have to, but I mean, because if you're just starting running and you're just trying to figure out running, don't worry about like a social justice aspect to it. Just figure out the running. That's plenty. That's a lot. But the other thing that I think about is a lot of runners do like to raise money for charity. A lot of runners do like to run as a pack and do good work together. And I would love for it to be like the Instagram story or whatever thing that I figure out next is to say that people like us do things like this, and we stick up for each other and we point out injustices. And I mean, we call fouls basically, and we do something about it. That's kind of what I want to do, and not like say like, oh, look at all these. I've spotlighted 300 charities this year. There's so much good charity work going on. That's like half the message. The other half, the more important half of the message is, and we have to go support these people and work with them. I don't know. So I'll figure something out. I've got a lot of thinking to do. Toshak Singhal says, on a lighter note, which is appreciated. Thank you. Today I saw your video throwback to Alpha Next Percent, and you completely shaven was a pretty good look. I think so. I think it was. And today on my Instagram, on my Instagram post for today, I did a reel. I've been enjoying that, and I just feel like I look extra shaggy right now too, just with like the handlebars going on, and I'm like, there was a point, there was an asymptote where I just felt like this look was working for me. And I think I'm on the other side of that hill. Like if the x-axis is hair, like scruffiness, I feel like there's been a point I've passed the peak. So I don't know. I'm thinking I'm getting ready to shave it. And I was like, well, don't you want to keep that? I'm thinking to myself, don't you want to keep it for the winter when it gets cold? That'll be my first winter with like actual facial hair. I think maybe it'll be better for winter running. But then I'm like, I find I've got the buff on, and I just find it really uncomfortable with the buff. So like, I don't know. I'm about ready to let it go. Ivan Cass says, you look extra veteran. Been watching since the start. Yeah, I've been here for a while, I guess now. But yeah, I do look very different than when I started making videos. But I guess probably like every year I do look. There has been quite a bit of change, but I feel like it's normalized, except for like the facial hair now. But I feel like it's kind of normalized. Frank says the beard is better than a buff, but like I need the buff. I need it to cover all my face. I just get so cold, I don't know. Martha says, can I request a cowbell for Christy out who won good karma by mailing me a Garmin watch he didn't end up using because I mentioned mine had misbehaved a couple times? There we go. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's people like us doing things like this. Good job, Chris. Thank you for doing that. That's awesome. Great work. All right. Wait, where'd it go? Here, Carl Stokes says. Sorry, big truck going by. Chris says, can you comment on the Hoka Torrent 2 versus the New Balance Fresh Foam More Trail? Both are really good, I think, like hybrid shoes, commuter shoes. So I would think that the use case is similar for both of them. I would say that the Fresh Foam More Trail is a bit softer and more akin to like a daily trainer versus a max cushion shoe. So that's how I'd see it. Like the Hoka Torrent 2 being more of like a daily trainer, pretty versatile. You could use it for lots of workouts. You could use it for more intense days on the trail. But the easier days, the longer runs where you might be on your feet for a little longer, I would go for the Fresh Foam More Trail. But the Fresh Foam More Trail is just it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. And then I watched Ginger Runner's video, and he said pretty much what I thought he would say about it. That's like, it feels like a beginner shoe. And it wasn't quite as grippy as he might want. And I was like, yeah, I could see all that. But I just think it's fun and kind of just chill. So I just like it. It's like a relaxed, fun-loving shoe. The Hoka Torrent 2, I think, is a little bit more, serious, a little bit more work-oriented. But I think, and it feels a touch stiffer, and there's, clearly not as much stack height. But but both of them I really like. Boomdogs Madness says, is Smartwool your favorite running sock? No, I think right now my favorites are Stance. I like Stance the best. Mark Chancoco says, pretty awesome to see that you enjoyed the Alpha Fly Co. Are you going to race in them? It's a good question. I'm not sure what I'm going to race in for the 10K time trial. At 10K, pretty much any, it's all open, right? Like any carbon fiber plated shoe is usable. So I don't know. There's a lot of options there, and I'll be getting the Rocket X next week as well. So that might be a good time to like kind of test it out. So I'm leaning to yes, but I'm also like, 10K is really great for the Adazero Pro, not the Adios Pro, but the shorter one, the Adazero Pro. And then I do have the Speed Elite available to me right now too, but that has like carbon winglets. It's not really a carbon plate. And it's so thin. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I am thinking that once this 10K training is done, and now that my knee is feeling a lot better, I think like what I want to do is have kind of like a weekly, like 5 to 7 mile marathon pace, run with a longer run with the 5 to 7 marathon miles in there, just to like really put some of these carbon plated shoes to the paces, so just to see how they stack up. I have a feeling that I'll like the Alpha Fly the most for marathon. And then second would maybe be the Endorphin Speed. And then I'm not sure after that. Maybe the RC Elite. I don't know. There's a lot of good options right now. Jordan Thomas coming in with the super chat. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you. You've been putting a lot of good content out on the Alpha Fly as well. Excellent work. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, Chris Doug says, just signed up some Wu-Tang bread and Stance socks yesterday at a store. Easy buy. You know what? I was just looking up. I was just looking online today. I was like, you know what I need that I don't have anymore? I need the black t-shirt with the yellow W. I'm like, where? I'm like, I was like, I haven't seen that in a long time. Where did that go? I don't have one now, but I was like, I need to get another one. But I couldn't find one like on the Wu-Tang, the Wu-Wear store. But I forgot that Stance had some Wu-Tang socks. I need to get some of those too. I definitely did listen to like Wu-Tang on the run this morning. Wu-Tang and Mos Def. That was like my playlist for today. It was an easy run, and I just felt like that was the vibe for today. D. Riv says, am I the only one tired of the pointy back on the Pegasus line? I don't think you're alone. I like it. I still appreciate it, but you're not alone for sure. Ben Y says, have you tried the New Balance Prism Kofuzi? I haven't tried that one. I'm going to wait for the Rebel 2. I'm not sure that the Prism is for me. Because what was the other one? There was a Fuel Cell Rebel, and there was the other one that was the kind of more relaxed Fuel Cell, like the Fuel Cell Daily Trainer. Did the Prism replace that? I think that it did. I'm not sure. Ooh, Steven Goddard says, nice path hat, Kofuzi. Going to pick one up for myself. That's a good spot, because I don't think it says path anywhere on this hat. I mean, there's this reflective patch, and I've worn it before and told people that it's a path hat, and it's memorable now because it's got this like pulled strand here. I think what happened is my wife's bra strap caught it in the dryer. That's what I think happened here, but good eye, Steven. Matt Legrand says, are you watching any fun new YouTube channels that I should check out? I have been seeing a lot of good new YouTube content lately. I think I need to make an update video on that. Yeah, because people have been recommending some good stuff to me too. But I always just kind of like forget to talk about it to people. So I used to do that somewhat regularly, but I think it's time for that again, Matt. So we'll do it. There's a couple different people that have just like really hit their stride. The one that I think that really jumps out to me is Chase the Summit. Do you guys watch Chase the Summit? The guy puts out good content like pretty much every day. It just seems like every day, but there was one day where he put out like multiple a day, and I'm like, I only know one man that does more than one video a day. His name's Seth. And it's insane. But he had 2 really good videos in the same day, and he does just a lot of great stuff. He knows a lot about watches. But so that's one that I've been watching a lot too. Matt, I'm sure you already know who that is. Let's see. Oh, okay. Ben Weiss said it was the Propel. That's right. But there is a Propel version too. Yeah. Oh, Beth Rutland said the Prism is their lightweight, mild stability shoe. Okay. Right. Yeah, Marielle says it's the Propel. That's the one. For some reason, some of the names just always escape me. But I never ran in that one, so maybe that's why. I don't remember it. Daniel Labor says, hey, appreciate the reviews. Ignoring Zero Drop, Ultra Olympus versus New Balance, more foam trail. I've not run in the Olympus. I've only run in 2 Ultras. The Superior, which I really enjoy, and the Ultra Escalante 2. I ran into 2, not the 2.5. But I can say so I can't comment on the Olympus, but commenting about the Superior, the bounciness and kind of the slight lack of like grippiness. I mean, there's lugs on it. There's an aggressive outsole, but it's still not like the lugs aren't like super rigid, which makes for a more comfortable ride. But for people that are like running on like super intense trails and like sky racing, like they're probably not going to like that shoe. But the Fresh Foam More and the Ultra Superior are kind of like opposite ends of the exact same like fun, soft, comfortable trail shoes. Like the Fresh Foam More has like 36 millimeters of stack height to it, and the Olympus, not the Olympus, but the Superior had like, I don't know, like 16, 14 millimeters of stack height, maybe 20. So I think 20 sounds about right. So I feel like they're just opposite end of the spectrum, but I feel like they're pretty related. So I like both of those. And then the Fresh Foam More though was at a 4 millimeter drop, I think. So I mean, it's not, for me, it's not a huge difference. I didn't know it was a big difference in the drop. Frank says the Olympus is excellent. And then maybe that'll be the next one that I check out. Yeah. And it says Chase's Summit seems to be getting better and better. He had a good live stream with DC Rainmaker that you saw. Yeah, that was a really fun conversation to watch. But yeah, I just feel like in the last like month or 2 months, it's just like shot up in terms of like, not that he wasn't making good videos before, but like I just feel like he really hit a stride, and he's just nailing the videos lately. All right. D-Riv says, do you rep any soccer clubs in the world? No, I don't really watch much soccer or football. I don't really watch much sports anymore. I mean, I watch running these days, but other than that, I don't really watch any more sports. I'm trying to think. The last soccer game that I went to might have been the Portland Timbers game, and this was before they were in the MLS. So when they were in like some weird like other league, and they were trying to get into the MLS. But I went to a Portland Timbers game. That was super fun. It was in Portland as well. It was cool. Scotty B's here. He's a little late, but welcome. Good to have you. The Mad Titan Production says, how many miles would you recommend me to take the Pegasus 37? Currently have about 160 or something. I'd feel comfortable taking a Pegasus. This year with all the React foam in it, I think you could easily take it to 300. The outsole is a little bit thicker than it was last year too. So I just feel like that shoe is going to be really durable. Normally it has Cushlon as the carrier or the midsole foam. And that I usually like at like 250 to 275, right around at the 270 mark, 275 mile mark. That's when I'm like, you probably need a shoe in the next week or so. But at 160, you're probably about halfway in terms of the lifespan. Dr. Funk 1216 says, I am late to the show just like Nevada. It's all right. Good to have you here, Dr. Funk. Ivan Cass says, just curious, what do you listen to on your runs for music and podcast? For music, I usually only listen to music on like a workout day. And so I have a playlist on Apple Music called Kofuzi Run Club. It's a lot of Linkin Park, Blink-182, NF, Logic. There's some Post Malone on there, Muse. Trying to think of what else is on there. Oh, just a variety of like randomness. And then for podcasts, Mario Fraioli is my favorite. Someone said Mario Fraioli, mentioned him somewhere in the comments. I missed that comment. Hopefully I'll find it. The Morning Shakeout podcast, that's kind of my favorite right now. I like Rambling Runner. I'll Have Another with Lindsay Hine. I like Rich Roll from time to time. And then Dave Chang podcast, but only when he's doing the Dad's podcast. That's the only one that I like. So that's kind of like my main rotation. That between that and audiobooks, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. That is kind of what I listen to. I just recently finished Be Water, My Friend, which is a book written by Bruce Lee's daughter. And she's kind of like trying to convey her father's like philosophies through her own voice. She apparently, I didn't know this, is the curator of like the of like Bruce Lee's kind of legacy, of like the Bruce Lee library, if you want to think of it that way. And so I feel like she's very well suited to the task, even though her father died when I think she was 4 or 5, something very young. She mentions it a couple of times. And that was, I don't know. I think that was probably not a great book to listen to on an audiobook. I think it requires more reflection, and I might just have to listen to it a couple times. Next up on my list, though, I just downloaded it today, is I'm going to listen to Andrew Yang's book. He's been showing up a lot in my Twitter feed and on TV a lot, and I feel like his message is more important. His message is more important now than even when it was when he was running for president. And so I'm going to listen to his book. We'll see how it goes. So that's kind of where I'm at. Matt LeGrand says, next time you're in Portland, hit me up. My wife used to go there quite a bit because her company's IT was like their IT services were based there, but they're not going to be based there post-pandemic anymore. And then I had a buddy. That's how I ended up at a Portland Timbers game. My buddy used to work in the sales office for the Timbers. Now he works for the Avalanche in Denver, I think. That's where he works. Yeah. And so I don't know the next time that I'll go for Portland, but I think if I do end up in Portland again, it'll be for a trip, because I want to do a Kofuzi US tour and maybe a world tour once things kind of settle down. I mean, we're rounding the corner, right? Rounding the corner, so should be anytime soon. But yeah, for sure I will. We can go run around that lake that you're always at. Let's see what else we got. Steve76 downloaded Jerry Seinfeld's audiobook. Hilarious. I might do that. I could use a happy book. That'd be fun. Let's see. Dr. Funk 1216. Are you gonna take the Alpha Flight to 100 miles? Yeah, for sure. I will. And Daniel Labor, I think this will be a good question to end on for today. What shoe surprised you the most in 2020? For sure, the Endorphin Speed. I was expecting to think that there was, this is okay. A kind of a mid-price point, like kind of shoe. More expensive than a daily trainer, not as expensive as a racing shoe, and feels like a compromise between daily training and racing. But I think it's probably one of my favorite shoes. Well, it is one of my favorite shoes of the year. So that just kind of like came out of nowhere. I thought I would enjoy the Endorphin Pro more, but I just love the Endorphin Speed. I saw someone else. Someone said that their Endorphin Speed, like bottomed out at 120 miles. So I'm at 70 on that, maybe 70. Yeah, I'm about at 70 on it. So we'll try to get it above 100, at least past like the 120 mark, to see if that happens to me too. But excuse me. But I anticipate that because of the material, the Power Run PB that's in there, that it should last a really long time. That's my hypothesis. So yeah, so we'll see. I guess it could continue to surprise me. All right. Marielle says, can you put your playlist on Spotify? I would love a new mix. I have an older playlist on Spotify that's called Kofuzi Run Club. I haven't been using Spotify in like over a year, but there is a playlist there with some music. That one has probably, because of when I made it, it's pretty Post Malone heavy. So I apologize for that. But yeah, there is one there. I should definitely make an effort to update that one too. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that's a good place to end it for today, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know that I'm going to do a video tomorrow. I've been taking Fridays off, but I wanted to get that AlphaFly video out because I was excited to talk about it. So tomorrow I won't have a video in the morning, but we'll do another live stream, same time, 3 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I'll see you guys here again. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Be safe out there until the next time I see everybody. Take care.